This is Sundry Sports for Tuesday, July 7th? Yes, July 7th. Starting with Cowboys Wire from USA Today. Cowboys Dontari Poe to Jerry Jones. We need to know we have your support. Add Dontari Poe to the growing list of Dallas Cowboys players wondering aloud where their employer stands when it comes to their efforts to push racial division. Who the fuck is Dontari Poe? To push back against systemic racism in the United States. No such thing. The veteran defensive tackle. Oh, veteran defensive tackle. Yet I've never heard his name before. Signed back in March, has heard from new head coach Mike McCarthy and new position coach Jim Tomsula. But according to a story from Bleacher Report's Kalen Collar, the former first-round draft pick says the silence from team owner Jerry Jones is noticeable. Such arrogance. You've got to have everybody on your side, even if it's just in word. Haven't talked to Jerry at all, Poe says in the Bleacher Report piece. I hope he comes out and shows his support. You are an owner of an NFL team. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. The majority of this team are these people that are being oppressed. Oh my God. These people that are being oppressed on this very team. Making millions of dollars. Playing football in front of millions of people. So oppressive. So even if you are not going to be in the forefront, we need to know we have your support in that type of way. No, you don't. Such arrogance. God damn. Jones has been conspicuously quiet. It's only conspicuous because everybody keeps talking about it. In the wake of the numerous rallies in cities across the country and ongoing discussions at every level of society following the murder of George Floyd. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott pledged it wasn't murder. Who the fuck wrote this? At most, it was negligent manslaughter or whatever. It wasn't murder. Murder is intentional. The dude did not mean to kill George Floyd. He just did not value life. He didn't pay attention or something. Whatever. He didn't mean to kill him. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott pledged $1 million in support of police training, education, and advocacy. Running back Ezekiel Elliott. Where does that money go exactly? Because I've heard tell of a bunch of celebrities who donated to other sorts of causes, such as bailing out protesters, aka rioters, and a very small percentage of their money has been used so far. So where exactly does this money go? Oh, it's just pledged. So what, he's trying to figure out where to put it? Running back Ezekiel Elliott appeared in a video address to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell demanding an official league response. Team notables, Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware is not a Cowboy anymore. Nate Newton, Emmitt Smith. Oh, okay. Michael Irvin, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Gerald McCoy have all publicly spoken out or brought attention to efforts to initiatives for change. But despite one video alluding to years' worth of conversations between the team and local judges, police chiefs, and attorneys that reflects the organization's statement on social justice, and a few social media posts from team accounts, there has been no direct word from the outspoken owner of America's team on this issue that affects every corner of America. Oh, does it really? For Poe, the issue became personal in 2017. As a member of the Atlanta Falcons that season, Poe took a knee during the national anthem before the team's Week 3 game. He says he received clear support from Atlanta head coach Dan Quinn. The following 2 years with the Carolina Panthers, Poe served on the team's Player Impact Committee. This offseason, Poe tells Bleacher Report that he's been at the Cowboys facility almost every day. As per Kaler, Poe says McCarthy and Tom Sula both voiced their support for the black community and the fight against systemic racism during Zoom meetings with players. Oh, so they both took the time to kiss your ass, but nothing from Jones. His silence definitely means a lot because in any other situation he will have something to say about most things, Poe is quoted as saying. I was once a proponent of doing stuff behind closed doors and doing what I need to do, not out in the forefront, so hopefully he is doing that, but who knows what he is doing. Personally, I would hope that he comes out and says, okay, I am willing to help, I am willing to fight, and I am willing to be with y'all. I don't suppose we could do that whole thing where if your player chooses to kneel in protest, then you can choose to not put them on the field. How about that? You don't... To demand to have everybody voice their support for you is just so arrogant. I keep saying arrogant. Fucking arrogant. Read that yesterday. Yeah. Cowboys to hold 2020 training camp at home instead of Oxnard. I thought that was determined already. The ESPN Daily. Good morning. You gonna choose that over this? I'm really a monster, but I'm gonna tell you this. I'm getting tired of being humble now. Cam Newton on Instagram, and also me when advising a friend how to reply to a breakup text. Here's your ESPN Daily. Okay. Listen up. The hero of Goodall Park. Goodall Park in Sanford, Maine is the type of ballpark that feels like sacred ground. In its more than 100 years of history, Goodall Park has seen its fair share of iconic baseball moments, including a home run hit by Babe Ruth that locals swear went 700 feet. But in 2018, Goodall Park became famous for something else. During a Babe Ruth League baseball game, a woman drove her car onto the field in the midst of a psychotic episode, and a 68-year-old man, Douglas Parkhurst, was killed while trying to protect the young ballplayers. In the aftermath, Parkhurst was hailed as a savior, that is, until a 50-year-old secret came to light, raising questions about fate, redemption, and what it means to be a hero. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, Tom Junod joins Mina Kimes to share the incredible story of the hero of Goodall Park. Okie dokie. Things to care about. Make that money, Mahomes. It's good to be Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs just ensured that their QB1 will be sticking around for a long time by signing the Super Bowl MVP to a 10-year contract extension that ties him to Kansas City through the 2031 season. The deal is reportedly for $450 million and could be worth up to $503 million if certain incentives are met. In other words, it is the richest deal in sports history. Sorry, Mike Trout, you had a heck of a run. It's hard to blame the Chiefs for recognizing a good deal and locking it down. Mahomes is just 24 years old and has already won league MVP and a Super Bowl, and health willing, he could still be a premier player when this contract is finished. Good for you, Mahomes. You go, Mahomes. 2020 MLB schedule winners and losers. You could ask me how many times I refreshed the MLB schedule page of ESPN.com for the sole purpose of seeing the matchups populate again, but you might be alarmed by the answer. I did this just shy of 18 times so far. Or we could agree that having actual games to look forward to after MLB revealed its full schedule for the coronavirus panic-shortened 2020 season is a huge win. The defending World Series champion Washington Nationals will host the New York Yankees in the first game of the season on July 23rd, followed by the San Francisco Giants traveling to play the rival Los Angeles Dodgers. Ryan Zimmerman and Joe Ross won't be there for the Nats, and David Price won't be suiting up for the Dodgers, but the show will go on. Please, baseball gods, let the show go on. Because of the unprecedented formula of this year's slate, teams will play all of their 60 games within their divisions. There is an array of challenges that teams will face that they don't typically have to consider. Bradford Doolittle dove into who could benefit and suffer the most from the MLB mini-schedule. How quickly can NBA players get into game shape? If you ever played an outdoor sport, you know how tough it is to stay motivated during a rain delay. As the minutes pass by, the motivation and intensity within the locker room dwindle. When another lightning bolt strikes and the delay clock restarts, the energy is further eclipsed as you begin to wonder if you are going to get to take the field again. Well, that must be a lesser version of how it is for NBA players right now. Their season was unceremoniously interrupted, and for months they have been trying to stay ready to get back on the court, while entirely unsure if they will get the opportunity to do so. Now, with the Orlando, Florida restart weeks away and inter-squad scrimmages starting July 22nd, players find themselves facing a challenging predicament. How quickly can they get back into game shape? As Baxter Holmes points out, good shape versus game shape is an important distinction. Celtics guard Kemba Walker echoed that sentiment. You could do all the running you want, but basketball shape is just so different. As one athletic trainer explained, the deceleration, change in direction, and unanticipated movements when playing off a teammate or opponent, and how the mind and muscles react to that stimuli, are the variables that can't be reproduced in training or individual workouts. Knowing all of this, are NBA players going to be ready for the restart? Check back in a few weeks. Well, if they're not, then they'll all be not ready together, and then they'll all play together and slowly get back into the right shape together. We scrolled Twitter so you don't have to. From SportsCenter. Paul Gasol spending time with Kobe's daughters is so heartwarming. Paul? Is it getting dusty in here? Vanessa Bryant took to social media on Monday to share photos of Kobe Bryant's former teammate and friend, Paul Gasol, spending time with Kobe and Vanessa's daughters. If that doesn't tug on your heartstrings, I don't know what will. Overheard. I went through a very depressed state for a long time. I'm a big video gamer. I didn't even play 2K anymore. I don't want to hoop. Don't want to work out. I don't want to play 2K. I don't want to do anything with basketball. J.R. Smith on his time away from basketball. Okay. Remember when? Long live the Banana Boat crew. It has been exactly 5 years since a photo of LeBron James, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, and Gabrielle Union, Wade's wife, sharing a banana boat on vacation emerged and sent the NBA Twitterverse into a frenzy. Why? Although Carmelo Anthony wasn't featured in the viral 2015 photo, we all know he's a bona fide banana boater. Okay. Until next time, remember, on this date last year, the USWNT won their 4th World Cup title. United States women's national team won their 4th World Cup title. Then they began a celebration tour that culminated at the ESPYs. Here's some of that wholesome content because it feels like we could use it right about now. As I recall, it really wasn't all that wholesome. This has been your ESPN Daily for Tuesday, July 7th, 2020. Yahoo Sports, read and react. Brought to you by Yahoo Sports. Trending, time to vote. Who are the GOATs? That's greatest of all times. Michael Jordan or LeBron? Tiger or Jack? Babe or Willie? Fauci. Vaccine possible by end of 2020, early 2021. Whatever, dude. Here's the MLB schedule, if you care. Liquor store clerk broke Mahomes' contract news. Okay. The lead. Winner, winner, Kobe beef dinner. $500 Million Man by Jay Busby. Morning, friends. If Patrick Mahomes owes you money, good news. You're probably going to get paid back. Monday afternoon, Mahomes signed a $500 million contract. Yep, billion with a B, thereby ensuring he will be one of the most notable athletes of the 2020s, one way or another. The contract, technically a 10-year, potentially $503 million extension on top of the 2 years remaining on his current deal, will theoretically keep him in Chiefs red through the 2031 season. 2031? We'll probably have flying cars by then, right? Granted, the odds of Mahomes playing out this contract are next to zero. He'll renegotiate it, or get cut, or get injured long before then. But the truth is, this is a win-win from almost every angle. Let's break it down. Winner, Patrick Mahomes. The guy has nabbed an MVP, a Super Bowl, and now the largest contract in sports history. In 3 years. Yeah, we'll mark that down as a win. Winner, Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs already have one Lombardi on their shelf thanks to Mahomes. Our Frank Schwab sets the over-under at total Super Bowl victories in the Mahomes era at 2.5. Take the over. The Chiefs locked up the most exciting player in football for a deal that's going to look better with every year. Winner, Chiefs fans. Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson will have something to say about it, but Chiefs fans can enter every season for the next decade knowing that they've got a realistic shot at a title. Well, perhaps. Loser, Chiefs accountants. Whenever you sign a quarterback to a monster contract, sacrifices must be made elsewhere up and down the roster. The trick for Kansas City will be surrounding Mahomes with enough quality, reasonably low-cost talent that he can still win with while banking all those big checks. Let's be honest, though. This is a nice problem to have. The good news on this front is that the Chiefs still have Mahomes for the next 2 seasons at below market value. Winner, Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. There's absolutely no one like Mahomes. That said, a quarterback who plays at, say, 90% of Mahomes' level, which Watson and Jackson certainly do, can expect a consequent pay bump when their day comes around. Oh, and there's somebody else who just had a good day. Loser, Jerry Jones. Jones and the Cowboys dickered around with Dak Prescott for most of the last year before Prescott signed a 1-year deal for the 2020 season, and now Jones is on the hook for a lot more money or a lot longer contract, or both. Why? Because of that Super Bowl that Dak got us? Oh, wait, that never fucking happened. Nobody would put Prescott in Mahomes' class. Exactly. But when a house sells for a big price, everyone on the street benefits. Bottom line, Mahomes has the game to be one of the elite athletes of the 2020s, and now he's getting paid like one. And if anyone can earn it, based on what we've seen the last 2 years, it's Mahomes. Wetzel. Trump rips NASCAR/Bubba Wallace for no apparent reason. Oh, no apparent reason? No apparent reason. All right. I don't know what exactly this is about, but there is definitely reason. Such as, the perpetuated hoax. Because that is what it is when you continue. When it's been proven that the thing you thought happened did not really happen, and yet you keep harping on it, then you have turned it into a hoax and you are perpetuating it. All right, we'll read this. Read. President Trump blasts NASCAR and Bubba Wallace in nonsensical, needlessly divisive tweet. I'm so sure. On Monday, President Donald Trump decided to blast NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace and NASCAR in general. He also claimed victimhood for Wallace's fellow drivers and friends on the circuit who stood by the sport's lone African-American driver after a noose was discovered hanging in his garage at the Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. Yeah, exactly. See, this is the perpetuation right here. A noose was discovered hanging in his garage. The FBI eventually determined, oh, you mean the very next fucking day? The very next day. It took them less than a day to complete their investigation. And even in that short a time, you fuckers made it all about Bubba Wallace. The FBI eventually determined the noose was a bizarre happenstance and not a hate crime, but it rattled the sport and sparked a massive and emotionally moving outpouring of unity from race teams, competitors, and fans and others. I think you mean emotionally grotesque. Not moving, that was fucking grotesque. Trump apparently didn't like that. He's not the only one, you fucker. He also poked at NASCAR for banning the flying of Confederate flags at its races, making Trump a government official blasting a private company for asserting the freedom to make its own decisions about what its own customers do on its own properties. All of that came in just one tweet. Most of it was inaccurate and designed to inflame and enrage, but hey, it's 2020. Has Bubba Wallace apologized to all of those great NASCAR drivers and officials who came to his aid, stood by his side, and were willing to sacrifice everything for him, only to find out that the whole thing was just another hoax? That and flag decision has caused lowest ratings ever. Well, has Bubba Wallace apologized for that shit? The grade school punctuation was just an added presidential touch in an effort to make the black guy the culprit and the white guys the victims and torch a rare moment of harmony, friendship, support, and love. Start here. It wasn't a hoax. It wasn't a hate crime, as the FBI... It wasn't a hate crime, as the FBI later determined, but it wasn't a hoax either. It was a hoax. Yes. Because it was just a rope that was tied in a handy loop. A handy loop that just happened to be fashioned with a certain knot. Anyway, the rope didn't do shit to anybody. But the hoax comes in with all the emotional stuff, with all the talk about it being a hate crime, with no evidence. It was a hoax. It was turned into a hoax by NASCAR and Bubba Wallace himself. And yeah, there has been no apology. An actual rope that serves as a garage door pull was discovered in Wallace's garage stall. It had been tied in the form of a noose. The noose was real. There were even pictures of it discovered from an October 2019 race when the garage was used by a different driver. Yeah, a different driver. One who was not as sensitive, apparently. By the way, white people have been lynched as well. Being hanged is not just a black thing. When it was fashioned as a noose, no one could have known the following season Wallace would get the garage. The stalls are assigned based on weekly standings. Why was the door pull tied as a noose in 2019? No one knows. Might have been nefarious, it might not. Might have been the fact that it's fun to mess around with knots. I know how to tie a noose because it's fun. It's fun to make cool knots. NASCAR had all 29 of its tracks examined and found that in the 1,684 of its garage stalls, just 11 had the pull rope tied in any kind of a knot. The one in stall 4 of Talladega was the only one tied as a noose. Strange, but not a hate crime. Also not a hoax. No. It becomes a hoax. Like I just said, it becomes a hoax when you harp on it and you inform everybody that it's a hate crime without any evidence. And then it turns out to not be one. And you still double down on, oh, how terrible the whole situation was. You made it a hoax. You're a flat-out lie. The knot was discovered by David Crops, who is a mechanic on Wallace's team. He reported it to security, who reported it to NASCAR, and an investigation was launched. Oh, good man, David Crops. Oh, look, it's a noose. Oh my God, my driver is black. It must be a threat. Who's the racist there? Wallace never saw the noose, and yet he was just so emotional about it. Due to NASCAR's strict policies to operate during the coronavirus panic, Wallace was not even allowed in the garage area and never went there. He never could have even seen the noose. And yet, I don't know why you're including this little paragraph, because that just makes it sound a whole lot worse for Wallace because of just how sad he was. NASCAR President Steve Phelps was the one who told Wallace about the existence of a noose, and NASCAR, what a guy. NASCAR, and later the feds, sprung to action. Wallace had zero to do with any of it. Nobody said he did. There was no way he was in on it until he was told about it, and then he took advantage of the situation to go on interview after interview, getting lots of juicy publicity for himself. Blaming him for a hoax that wasn't a hoax is idiotic. Oh, you're idiotic. If NASCAR made any mistakes, it was by immediately declaring in a statement that this was a hate crime. At least you admit that. It could have waited for the full investigation to play out before making that determination and maybe kept emotions down. One paragraph of sense in this entire thing. That said, it was a mistake made out of outrage and pain that such a thing could occur inside its strictly controlled bubble. Such a thing did not occur! God damn! NASCAR is far from perfect. Like any segment of the country, it has some reprehensible customers, and there is work to do. That said, the vast majority of the people who work in it and the crowds who attend races are supportive and welcoming of everyone. They just like fast cars and close races. The idea that someone was trying to intimidate and humiliate Wallace or any of the drivers was and will remain abhorrent to them. But nobody was. It was a creation of your own imaginations. NASCAR, in its official capacity, took the incident extremely seriously. So too did the other drivers and crew members. In a movement started by Jimmy Johnson, it was determined that everyone in the garage area would walk out pre-race with Bubba Wallace. It was started by Jimmy Johnson. And what does he get for his efforts? He got the COVID. That's hilarious. Ha ha. It was a sign of togetherness. It was also a show of defiance to anyone trying to split the sport and country apart. Nobody fucking did that. You know what? You know who did that? It was Bubba Wallace when he started making a stink about the Confederate flag. He is a middle of the pack driver. He makes no impact. He makes no impact whatsoever. And then race riots started happening, and everybody had something to say. And he thought this was the perfect time to cash in. So he latched onto a cause, the Confederate flag, the symbol of the majority of the fans, the NASCAR fans. It's a symbol that does not represent slavery. It's a symbol that represents rebellion and fight for liberty, just like the American flag. Oh, but that's racist too, right? So he latched onto his little cause, and he got it to work. He got it banned, and he was in the news for a few days, and then there was a lull. And then there was a noose found in his garage, and that's the perfect opportunity all over again. Of course, he's gonna grab onto that and do all the fucking interviews that he can. And even when it's proved to not have been anything that was directed at him, or even anything new, it had been there for months, he still did interviews where he's outraged. That is what is splitting the sport and country apart. Those people that want to tell you all about what a victim they are, and they're blaming everybody and everything. That is what is divisive. It's the kind of thing that makes America great. The conclusion that the noose wasn't directed at Wallace was the best possible result. There wasn't a racist in the garage trying to cowardly mess with Bubba Wallace. Most people moved on, not the President of the United States. He called something that wasn't a hoax. You hoaxified it. It was hoaxified. He sympathized with the white drivers and crew members who chose to proudly walk down pit road with their friend. Yeah, there's got to be at least one of them who felt silly after the truth came out. And they should. This was some kind of sacrifice, according to Trump. Well, they did push him to the front of the line. The entire tweet was nonsensical, dishonest, and needlessly divisive. It's totally bizarre that the entire news situation was nonsensical, dishonest, and needlessly divisive. It's totally bizarre that weeks later it's commanding the attention of the White House. But again, it's 2020 in the United States of America. Another day, another Donald. Oh, you're so clever. Oh, you're so clever. Your journalism skills are just so impressive. Brown. Mookie Betts' uncertain future. Will he ever play in LA? Wetzel. Can Bryson DeChambeau change the game of golf? The kicker. And she sticks the landing. We like to give credit where credit is due. We like to give credit where credit is... The word you were trying to spell is D-U-E. Oh my goodness. We like to give credit where credit is due, so to the jumpers, thanks for social distancing. Whee. Thanks for reading today's issue of Read and React. Fuck you, Yahoo Sports. Why is this doing this? That's all for today. Thank you and goodbye.